Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This would be the first video released on Scope by TV. I know a lot of you guys like my shorts. Shorts are getting hits. I want to grow the audience on the long format videos. So that's why I moved the long format videos to Scope by TV, and Scope by Shorts is going to remain the channel for my shorts off of the videos. Drop a like and a sub, comment on these videos. The more we can talk and exchange information among the community, the more we grow. I know it's been a while. I've been recovering for some injuries, a couple surgeries, but we are back up and going. I'm going to start bringing you more content. Today, we're going to be talking about an item that is absolutely crucial to completing your kit, making you effective, and that is a rifle sling. Now, when I was a young guy getting into this world, I hated rifle slings. I didn't see a need for them. I thought they were a hindrance. And after watching The Hunted, I was like, great, it's just going to be used as a tool to choke me out while Benicio del Toro comes up and does a sentry removal behind me. And if that's where you're at right now, I think this is the video for you. Now, your sling should work with you. You shouldn't have to work around it. And that's what I'm going to talk about here in this video. There are a number of rifle slings out on the market, ways to set them up. A lot of people say, hey, this is the absolute way, this is the wrong way, and all of that is garbage. It depends on what you're doing and what your need is for that rifle sling. Not everybody's needs are going to be the same, and that's one thing we need to get into. Right away, I'm going to talk about how to wear a sling with a pack. This is a very debated topic. Do you wear sling and then your pack, or do you wear your pack and then your sling? I like to wear my sling over my pack straps. Reason for that, it gives me mobility. I can move this rifle how I need to, and I can take it off if needed. Now with the sling in this configuration, getting your pack off is going to be just a little tricky. And all you got to do is swim out of your sling, and then you can take your pack straps off. Once you get your pack on, swim back into your sling, and you're good to go. All right, first and foremost, where's the reason for your sling? Well, your sling is there to retain your rifle. Just like you have a holster for your pistol. If I have to go hands-on, if I have to climb a ladder, climb into a vehicle, go hands-on with a prisoner, or even maintenance my equipment, and I don't want to take my rifle off, say I'm not in an environment where I can take my rifle off and feel comfortable, well then I'm going to need a sling, right? So slings can be a little intimidating, and I understand that. So let's look at what we're using this sling for. What weapon system are we looking to secure? Whether that is your HK320, your tripod, your bolt gun, it doesn't matter. If you have a need to remove your hands while moving with that object, you might want to look at a sling. Does everybody need a sling? No, not everybody. Every situation requires you to have a sling. But just because you don't need a sling right now doesn't mean you're gonna not need a sling later on. So there's different selections of slings. Here I have two examples of a unpadded and a padded sling. What would make you choose a padded sling over a non-padded sling? What's the object? What's the weight? What are you doing with it? Does the padding get in the way if I have a pack on? Is it too much material between the pack and my neck? A lot of people say yes, and for that reason, they decide to go with a non-padded sling. In my opinion, an AR system is light enough. You don't need a padded sling. You're perfectly fine with this. The more equipment you start adding to that weapon system, the heavier it gets. The longer you're carrying that weapon system at a time, you might want to move to a padded sling. Depends. If you have a belt-fed weapon system, like a 249 or 240, you might want to go with a padded sling. If I have a heavy bolt gun, a lot of us know our bolt guns can get pretty massive, and I might not want this 2-inch material around my neck, and then we might go with padded sling. Now that we've selected the type of sling, padded or non-padded, we need to look at mounting that sling. Mounting hardware is going to depend on what your weapon system has available, what you can get aftermarket, and then we have to get the appropriate hardware to work with that sling and weapon system. Sounds more difficult than it is. So I'm going to show you a couple examples of the hardware. Old school, we have the old faithful HK clip. These are nice because it takes a lot of force to get in there, but then once it's in there, you don't have a lot of material to hook on. So that would be something like the sling mount on your A2 front sight post. or some 550 cord. Along with that, we have the QD mounts. I love and hate these. When they work, they work. I've had these fail. And if you've had a QD mount fail, you understand that your trust in this system goes way down. So much, in fact, that SEAL teams don't even authorize QD mounts to be used on diving operations because they fail, and then you lose your weapon system. No bueno, right? I'm not sure of the nomenclature on this system, but this is the Magpul quick release. Really like these. You get kind of the best of both worlds between the QD mounts and that HK clip. You clip that on there quick, and then they have a lock. So with that lock, they can't come undone. Now, I have dove with this system, never had any issues, and it has quickly become a favorite of mine. We currently use these at work. I highly recommend, once you get this attached, go ahead and lock it. I've seen guys drop weapon systems off of this because they bent over and it has disengaged the lock, and then their weapon hits the deck. Yeah, it's a party foul, but if you lock it, that won't happen. Now, on this sling, I have no mounting hardware. Why is that? Well, that's because if I have a weapon system where I have no sling mounts, I have no way of attaching QD or any kind of sling mounts, that means I have to rig something up using 550 cord. Once I rig something up using 550 cord, I don't need hardware on my sling. So get rid of it. I see guys with weird setups where they have no mounting solutions on their weapon system, so they run 550 cord, and then they still have QD mounts on their sling attached to the 550 cord. You don't need all that. It's just added bulk, added weight, and it's just something that's going to get in your way. So if we're going to be using 550 cord in our systems, we don't need hardware. You just create a loop here, just like you do. I'm sure you know how to do that, and if you don't, I'll show you. Now, this has a mount on one side and nothing on the other. Well, why is that? Well, if you look at a system like the MCX, for example, their telescoping stock has a little sling mount on the bottom. Well, that's where I like to keep this, and I would just loop it like this and then run my QD here. And it also brings us into, do you need a double point or single point? Damn, that was a good transition. So a double point or single point, can you make a single point sling out of a double point? Yeah, if all you need is a single point sling, remove the hardware on one side, loop it into here, and now you have a single point sling. Why would you want a single point versus a double point? Small objects, shotguns, SMGs, grenade launchers, anything of that sort, we may not need to have a double point sling. Now, a double point sling means that your sling is attached two different places. Single point means it's attached in one place. A lot of people like to attach it here. This is the optimal place to put a single point. I see a lot of people running single points back here, and this thing is just doing this. You have less control. Run it back on this end plate for that control and that maneuverability. And that's the other reason why you'd want a single point. In situations such as CQB, you may need to transfer shoulders. Now, having a double point, once you do that, you create a choke point. Is it manageable? Yes. Is it killing you? No. But it is creating a blood choke, and that's not good. So having a single point or double point can optimize your performance for the task you're doing, but it is not an end-all be-all for every situation. We're not always in CQB. We're not always patrolling in the woods. We're not always riding in vehicles. So I like to have options. The Magpul sling, as an example, is great to have that hardware to go from a 2-point to a single point in a matter of seconds. Now, I've run the 2-point patrolling, and then once we get to what we're doing and we need to go inside, I just unclip from the front, move it into single point configuration, and then I can go and have that maneuverability. Once I get out of the structures or out of the tight quarters and no longer have the need for a single point, I can remove it, clip it back into my rifle, and now I have a 2-point system. Now, can you run a single point indefinitely? Yes, but when you do things like transitioning to a handgun, that single point's just going to dangle and move between your legs. If you need to do something like go prone while you have your pistol out, that weapon system is basically on a pendulum. It's just swinging. You're not going to get it out of the way effectively. Climbing ladders with a single point sling is more difficult. A lot of guys want to move that rifle to the back so everything up front is clear so they can go ahead and climb that ladder. Well, with a single point, if you do that, it is now dangling behind you. And a lot of industrial ladders have that cage around them, and I don't want my weapon system dangling. I want to have positive control of it. With a 2-point, I can cinch that sling down on my back and look like a ninja with the sword on my back. That thing is not moving, but with a single point, it's not exactly going to work that way. So now we're going to talk about mounting options on your rifle. Now, these are the ones you need to consider first before you start picking hardware for your sling. Well, I need to look at my rifle and see what I have available as far as mounting a sling. Now, on this Mark 18, it comes with a QD mount here up at the front. I also installed one on the end plate. There's also QD mounts on the back of this Magpul sling. Those of you who've seen the video of me diving with this weapon system, I don't use the QD mounts all the time. I use 550 cord, and I have it looped under the handguard and ran out through. Now, this was a little bit of a pain in the ass to do, but I got it done. And then I run that clip, and again, it is locked. Same thing for the back. 550 cord through this side, and it is locked. The reason why I like 550 cord is it's quiet. I don't have hardware banging on hardware and plastic. If noise discipline is something that you need to consider, I would look at mounting your sling with 550 cord or some other means to make it quiet. There's not just one way to do this. I suggest play around with your gear and see what works best for you. Properly adjusting your sling. Now, this is something I don't see a lot of people talking about, and a lot of it depends on what you're doing. But I would recommend, if you're going to adjust your sling, do it in your gear. Why would you stand there in a t-shirt and adjust your weapon system so it's nice and snug on your t-shirt and then go ahead and put a plate carrier on? I like to have my sling sit pretty high, close to my shoulder pocket. So I can walk around like this, I can remove my hands, it doesn't move. And then it rolls right up as needed. I can move around and the sling really doesn't go anywhere. Now, this is a perfect time to see if your charging handle works with your kit. And while we're doing this, we're going to go ahead and kill two birds with one stone. While we're making sure our sling works with our kit and it doesn't move, we're also going to make sure that our charging handle doesn't get in the way of our kit and start pulling the bolt back as we're moving around and smoking and joking. I've been patrolling, and next thing I know, my weapon is disengaged because my charging handle is riding on my mags or my GP pouches that I had in front of me. That is something we're going to want to avoid. So now that we got our sling adjusted tight, when the slack is taken all the way out of the sling, I like to have it so it rests on my belt line. I feel that it gives me enough space when I start wearing big, thick winter jackets, plate carriers, or plate carrier and a chest rig over top. I still have a lot of adjustment to do what I need to do and get in and out of the sling. And that moves us to swimming in and out. Now, the best way to get out of a sling is to swim in and out of it. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to take my elbow first, go out of the sling. You can see I'm not caught up on anything. When I put my sling on, I'm going to create a loop, throw it over my neck, and then I'm going to put my hand in here, and I'm going to throw my elbow through, swim in. Now, is that the only way to put on a sling? No. But you're still swimming in and out, some form or fashion. Same thing, if I want to transition or go from a 2-point to a tactical necklace, I'm going to swim out, and now I have a tactical necklace. Shooting with the sling takes a little bit of practice. Not saying it's impossible or difficult, it's just something you're going to need to practice. You're going to notice your shooting positions are going to feel a little tighter, especially with kit. You may quickly realize that your 2-point isn't working in prone. You may need to swim out of it and go with a tactical lanyard. You also may need to swim out and swim in with your right arm to throw that rifle behind your back to climb a ladder to make it more secure. As you evolve as a shooter and in your technique, you're going to find things that work for you and things that don't. So don't take this as the only way. Take this as, hey, this guy's been doing it a while and he's giving me advice. I'm trying to give you guys knowledge as if you are the new guy on my team. Instead of letting you figure it out and struggle, I want to be here to help you guys out and give you the tips and tricks that nobody gave me and nobody gave a lot of you guys. You guys just had to figure it out on your own. And I know it may be fun to watch the new guys struggle and, you know, kind of come up in his own way, just like we all had to. At the same time, look at the world. We may not have that kind of time on our hands. Now, I recommend you go and you take a fighting rifle class. This video is not meant to replace any kind of formal weapons training. Not saying that this is something they're going to cover in that class. However, if this was able to help you out or give you an idea or kind of realize things that you may be doing wrong, give me a thumbs up. If there's something you think that could help me be more effective and you do things a little different way, go ahead and send me a comment. I like to reply to all the comments. The channel is growing and I love it. I see new followers every day, and that gives me the motivation to come out here and put some content in for you guys. So yeah, guys, thank you for subbing to the channel and continuing to watch these videos. My audience is growing, and with that, I'm going to continue to give you informative information. If you claim to be an armed professional or a Minuteman, go and get formal weapons training. Even if you were in the military, you know, getting guys in the military to go take classes, I know is not always the easiest, especially guys that are in infantry. They think, hey, you know, the military teaches me everything, and I'll be the first to tell you it doesn't. So guys, always be better at what you do. Always try to be more effective than you were yesterday. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. See ya.